Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are unpacking a seriously fascinating political case study. We're looking at how a dramatic, highly localized scandal right in the heart of South Carolina's 3rd District didn't just upend a single congressional race, but actually created this massive ripple effect. And it's a ripple effect that is actively defining the GOP landscape right now, today, in August 2026. It really all boils down to this one fundamental question. Can a highly disciplined local ground game actually beat a presidential endorsement? Throughout this explainer, we're going to unpack this core conflict between a high-profile national stamp of approval and deep-rooted local credibility, and we'll see which one actually moves the needle when the pressure is really on. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the unexpected vacancy, the resulting political proxy war, the runoff upset, looking ahead to 2026, and finally, some key election takeaways. Part 1. The Unexpected Vacancy. SEO3 turns upside down. So, to really understand the shockwaves of this event, you've got to understand the territory. We're talking about South Carolina's upstate. This is one of the reddest, most deeply conservative districts in the entire country. I mean, the GOP nominee doesn't just win the general election here, they completely dominate it. For over a decade, this incredibly safe seat was held by incumbent Representative Jeff Duncan. But then, on March 17, 2024, Duncan dropped an absolute bombshell. He resigned immediately after admitting to an affair with a Washington lobbyist. It was a classic, chaotic DC exit that created a massive vacuum, and things moved fast. Within weeks, we saw a super crowded primary in April, a fierce runoff in May, and the final general election in June. The whole political landscape was turned entirely upside down, literally, almost overnight. Part 2, a political proxy war. Trump versus Haley allies. You know, when a safe seat in a district like this just suddenly opens up, absolutely everybody wants in. A dozen Republicans quickly threw their hats into the ring. But when the dust finally settled, that 12-person primary narrowed into a massive clash between two very distinct wings of the party. On one side, you had Pastor Mark Burns. He's a fiery TV evangelist, a staunch MAGA ally, and most importantly, he was the candidate officially endorsed by former President Donald Trump. On the exact opposite side, you had Sheri Biggs, a lieutenant colonel in the Air National Guard, a veteran nurse practitioner, and the hand-picked successor backed by former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. So this race quickly transformed from just a local contest into a true referendum on the direction of the national GOP. The initial April 2024 primary was an absolute battleground. Pastor Burns actually managed to secure the largest share of the votes, really leaning on that powerful Trump endorsement. But, and this is a huge but, he failed to cross the 50% threshold required to win outright. And that set the stage for a brutal head-to-head runoff against Sheri Biggs.
Part 3. The Runoff Upset. Biggs defeats Burns.
Set for May 2024, this runoff became the real main event. And let me tell you, the attacks flew fast and heavily from both sides. Burns went totally on the offensive, painting Biggs as an establishment rhino who would just cave to Washington insiders. But Biggs fired right back. She questioned Burns' financial history and his character, all while positioning herself as the stable, locally experienced candidate who was actually ready to govern. And on May 14, 2024, Sheri Biggs pulled off a stunning upset. She defeated Burns by a razor-thin margin, 51.3% to 48.7%. To put that into perspective, that is a difference of literally just 2.6 percentage points. This result proves something pretty incredible. In a localized, low-turnout runoff, a really strong local ground game and deep community credibility could actually overcome the massive weight of Donald Trump's endorsement. After a hard-fought runoff like that, the actual general election in June was basically just a formality. Biggs completely cruised to victory over her Democratic opponent, Byron Best, by a massive margin of nearly 40 points. And with that victory, she made history, officially becoming the first woman ever elected to represent South Carolina's 3rd District in Congress.
Part 4. Looking ahead to 2026. The general election.
Okay, so the book on that crazy 2024 special election is closed, but it was really just the opening act. Let's fast forward to right now, August 2026. Biggs is a sitting member of the House Veterans Affairs Committee, and we are exactly 3 months away from the general election where she's running for her first full term. So how is she positioning herself today? Well, Biggs has firmly secured her establishment base. In fact, she avoided a primary runoff entirely this year. She's aggressively running on her military record and her healthcare expertise. But she's also firmly tying herself to the core conservative legislative agenda. She's been pointing to her strong voting record with GOP leadership on absolutely crucial issues like budget cuts and border security.
But here is the lingering tension. There's always a catch, right? While S03 remains considered safe Republican, control of the entire U.S. House of Representatives hangs in the balance by a razor-thin margin nationally. Literally every single seat matters, so the 2026 drama isn't really about if a Republican will win this district, but by how much. Can Biggs galvanize the MAGA base that might still harbor resentment from that bitter 2024 runoff? If conservative voters decide to just stay home due to low turnout or lingering bitterness, it could severely threaten her margins this November.
Part 5. Key takeaways. Lessons for the midterms. Let's zoom out from the upstate of South Carolina for a second and extract the macro-level insights that this localized case study provides for the broader Republican Party as we hurtle toward these midterms. Takeaway number 1, the Trump endorsement is not a cheat code. This race definitively proved that in localized, low-turnout runoffs, voters will often prioritize a highly disciplined local service record over a high-profile national nod. Mark Burns had the full backing of the former president, sure, but it just wasn't enough to secure a knockout punch against a deeply embedded local figure. Number 2, women candidates are a formidable force in GOP primaries. Sheri Biggs effectively neutralized attacks by leaning heavily into her military rank and her healthcare competency. She demonstrated a very clear, replicable path to victory in the Deep South. And she did it by running on strength, local experience, and tangible competency, rather than relying just on national ideology. And number 3, the establishment can fight back. Nikki Haley's political operation in South Carolina remains a potent force. Biggs's victories served as a major warning shot, really illustrating the enduring value of backing candidates who actually live in the district and have real-world local accomplishments that resonate with the community on a personal level. Which leaves us with this final thought-provoking question to chew on as we look toward November. Is the Trump effect fading in Southern primaries? Are we seeing a permanent shift back toward localized politics, or was this special election simply a unique perfect storm? It's a fascinating tension for sure, and it's one that will absolutely define the House majority in the coming years. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on the midterms.